Please, I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney Perry. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is in your neck of the woods. Hi. All right, today, what has been keeping me up? Teamwork and working with women. Ugh. Let me tell you, as a woman, I can safely say we really, really suck to work with. We are not really team players. Not at all. When you get a bunch of women working together, it's usually not a good thing. On the surface, things seem okay. On the surface, things seem normal. But to the untrained eye, there's a brewing tension. There's tension. There's pettiness. And I just can't stand it. I absolutely can't stand it. I've never liked working with a bunch of women. It's never boded well. I used to work at a clinic. This clinic had 7 different doctors, and they each had med techs, and they each had nurses. And then there was a call center where there were 4 to 5 people working in the call center, and we each took, like 100 to 125 calls a day. But there was usually about 4 or 5 of us down there, all women. And then there was a reception desk where there's also an additional 4 to 5 women working at the receptionist desk. And then usually, most of the time, the nurses and med techs were women. And then we had both male and female doctors. And it was a miserable environment. It was like a revolving door. They were constantly looking for people. They were constantly looking to hire, because women are just shitty. We're just really shitty and not great to work with. And we should all have jobs from home or work online or work with maybe 1 or 2 other people that are women. We can do fairly well when we're only working with 1 or 2 other women. But in my case, I work in a small environment where there are 4 to 5 people working. And it's you have to be a team. You have to get along, and you get to know each other because you're around each other for 10 hours. Like, we do 4 10s. So we're with each other for 10 hours, 4 days a week, and it's a small place. So you have to get along. And if you don't, you notice it a lot more. You can't really escape that person. There's really nowhere to run, You can't really hide. And it's frustrating when people are lazy and not contributing. It's frustrating when people take time off work all the time. It's frustrating when people aren't a team player. All of those things just really irritate me. The whole taking time off for every little thing it drives me bananas. I'm so sick and tired of, if someone has the sniffles or cramp, they have to take time off. They're having a bad day, take time off. I just don't feel like coming into work. I'm tired. I'm having a mental day. I'm just mentally exhausted. I get that. Aren't we all? Aren't we all mentally exhausted? And yes, we all deserve days off. We all get mentally exhausted. There are times that we don't feel well. There are times we are stressed. There are times we are depressed, and we just don't want to go to work. And I get that. I've been there a lot. I get it. But suck it up, Buttercup. Again, there is personal time off. There's paid leave. And if you want to take that because you're having a moment, I get that. Again, I get it. And then you work that out. to where your team knows it and your team is aware of it and your team can plan for that. But when you're just constantly taking time off because, of your period, or you're just needing a mental day, everybody else has to still work. So everybody else is now trying to do your job. And because I personally right now work in a very small place, there's nobody else that we can have come in and work for you. This isn't Walmart. This isn't some big corporation that has many, many employees that if someone takes a time off, it doesn't matter because there's all these other employees. That's not how it is. So in my business, when you take time off, when we already have a very, very short, when we don't have that large of a staff, it's an issue. It's a pretty big issue. And the rest of us now have to compensate. We all have to now work for you. And again, if you actually need it, if you're for real sick, I get it. If someone just passed away, I get it. If you're having so much going on in your personal life that you're just struggling, I get it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have time off if you're genuinely sick or someone died or there's an emergency or you just are so overwhelmed because you've genuinely for real have had just a hit after hit after hit and you're just mentally like, oh my God, I just need a day. I get it. But being on your period, having a headache. Again, migraines are different. I get migraines. I hate it when people compare migraines and headaches. They're not the same. That's why there's a different name. There's a different name because it's a different category because it's not the same. And people that haven't suffered migraines don't know what they're talking about, and they should really just stay out of the conversation. You don't get to be involved in a conversation that you know nothing about. We do that a lot these days. We try to chime in on things that we're not experts on, or that we've never done, or that we don't have all the information on. We like to chime in on things that we haven't ever been a part of. So with working though, Momo, Momo, sorry, pausing one moment. Gosh, it's always my dog. Sorry. It's just frustrating as the person who in 6 years, I've had 3 days off in 6 years. One of them was the day after my mom passed away. The other was the day I had to bring my fiance to jail for a crime that he did not commit that completely changed the course of his life, my life, and our family's lives forever. And then another time, it was because I had a migraine so bad, I was throwing up. Like, could not stop throwing up. Plus, I was sick on top of it. So, again, not saying you shouldn't have time off if you don't need it, but taking time off all the time for petty crap, especially when you work in a small business and you don't have anybody to cover you, and now those other people have to work their ass off for you, that is annoying. Or being really petty where you then take all that time off and then constantly complain that your check is small. You're like, God, I just haven't made a full check in a long time. Well, yeah, because you keep taking time off. So no, you're not making a full check because you keep taking time off. So shut up. Either work and make the money that you earned, or if you're going to take the time off, then you're not going to have a full paycheck. You don't get both. You don't get to not work and get paid unless, of course, it's something like a vacation time where you get paid vacation or you get paid leave. That's different. I'm not talking about those situations. But again, the whole entitlement thing. Oh, I know you guys will have to work extra, extra hard, but I'm just having a day and I don't feel like working. And on top of that, I think I should get paid to not work. It's so frustrating. And this lazy craze that's going around, this phase of really lazy fucking people, COVID started a chain reaction of people being so completely what is it called? Decentivized. I don't know. They don't have any incentive to show up anymore because they figured, well, if I don't work, I'll just get unemployment or I'll get welfare. So why would I work? And then if they do choose to work, it's like they're blessing us with their presence. It's like you went out of your way to look for a job. You filled out the resume. You turned in the resume. And then you saw what the job description was. You knew what your job entailed. You agreed to that. You said yes to that. You agreed to the time that you needed to be there. You agreed to your days off. You agreed to your hours. You agreed to the job description. So then when you show up and you don't want to do those things and you complain about those things, like I have a coworker who just had the audacity to say to me, I feel I'm doing more than my job description. No. In fact, not only have you not been doing more than what your job description asks, you haven't even barely been doing your job description because you're hardly ever fucking working. And then you bitch because you don't have enough money. And then when I say, hey, you can make up for it and you can work on these days, how about you come in on these days? We could really use you. We really need you. We could really use you. Team player. Let's be a team. You keep complaining about money. You keep saying you need money, but yet you keep taking days off. And then now here I am saying, hey, okay, to make up for that day you took off, why don't you work this day? No, I don't wanna. It's not, oh, I have something else to do. No, I have plans. It's, I don't want to. Okay, so to be clear, you're complaining because your paychecks aren't the full amount, but you also don't want to work. So what am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with someone that doesn't want to come in but still wants to get paid all the time? And then tips. Tips drive me insane. Tips. Again, I work in a place where there's boarding and grooming, and I help with the grooming. I give baths, I do the nails, I dry the dogs, I brush out the dogs, and half the time I even help grooming the dogs. I also do the office, answer the phones, check in and out dogs, clean the kennels inside, clean the kennels outside, all of that stuff. We have people that just do the boarding, and then we have one groomer that does the grooming, but is supposed to, when they're done grooming, if they have time, is supposed to help out with like the cleaning, the end of the day cleaning. Just like we, as the boarding, help her out with dogs by bathing them and drying them and stuff. So we're a team. No I in team, right? Team. And this is the first time we've had someone that's like, no, I don't do the boarding. I'm a groomer. I groom. No, you're not. You're a team member. And your job, our job, all of our jobs is to help each other. And that is what is on our job description, actually. And if you disagreed with that and you didn't feel that that was okay, then you shouldn't have taken the job. That's how it works. But tips, this person wanted the tips to be separate. Groomer gets all the grooming tips. And then the 3 to 4 of us that do the boarding all have to split the boarding tips between the 4 of us while she gets all of the grooming. Oh, and also she gets part of the boarding tips too. So she gets the boarding and the grooming, even though she doesn't do any of the boarding at all, except for once in a very great while, answer the phones. Or once in a very great while, checks in or out a dog. However, all the rest of us always help with bathing, always help with drying, always help with the dogs, and we do all of the cleaning and the boarding part of it. But somehow we're supposed to just get the boarding tips and split that between the 4 of us, and we don't get any of the grooming tips, but then she gets the boarding and the grooming tips. No. How about we all work together as a team and we don't try to fix what's not broken? Because you're the only person that has had an issue with it. Nobody else has ever brought this up. And if we do split it, the grooming person's actually going to get screwed. But this whole mine, I don't want to work for anything. I don't want to do anything, but I still want all the credit, all the glory, all the money, all the benefits, just like the welfare people. They want their health care paid for, but they don't want to work for it and they don't want to pay for it. They want other people to pay for it. They don't want to pay for it. just like unemployment. Well, I don't want to work at all, but I want other people to work so that I can have my food. I want free food, I want free health care, and I want a free paycheck. But I want other people that are exhausted mentally and physically, that are sick and have a lot going on and are tired and have been working for a long time. I want all of them to pay for me to sit back and contribute absolutely nothing. And then I want to complain about how I'm oppressed or I don't have shit. What the hell? Our government is creating these people and we need to cut them off. Cut them off. You get what you work for. Why is that a bad concept? Why is it bad for people to get what they fucking earn? Why is this even ever a topic of discussion? You show up to work, you do your job, you get a paycheck. You don't show up to work, you don't do your job, you don't get a paycheck. Again, I'm not talking about people that are disabled. I'm not talking about veterans. And I'm not talking about people that are retired. If you're retired, you should absolutely still collect a paycheck because you've put into that paycheck. You have put into it. You've worked your entire life. You've earned it. If you're a veteran, you've done your job description. You've gone above and beyond. You've done your duties. If you are disabled and unable to work, you genuinely can't sit at a desk and answer phones or whatever, and you just cannot work for some reason. Again, I get it. But those should be the only times that people get a check for not working. Why is this ever a topic? You should not get free health care because it's not free. It's free to you, you lazy piece of crap. You useless, narcissistic person. That is the epitome of narcissism right there. You think the sun and the moon and the universe revolves around your needs and your wants, but you don't give a flying fuck about anybody else's needs or wants or beliefs or opinions, just yours. You throw fits and temper tantrums because I'm not being heard. I'm not being heard. Oh, my opinions aren't being heard. Me crying and yelling in the streets isn't getting my way. My temper tantrums aren't getting me my way. Oh, boo, 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 hoo. Good. It shouldn't. A temper tantrum should never, ever, 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 no matter what your age is, should never warrant getting a reward. Ever. Temper tantrums should not equal getting something, except maybe a consequence like a timeout or something taken away like a toy or a spanking or whatever. But it shouldn't warrant a positive thing. So not working shouldn't warrant you to have free things. Because again, they aren't free. Someone's paying for them. You dumb person. But anybody in Oregon's not going to know that because we don't believe in education. We don't believe in math or reading. So maybe you don't know that. Maybe you are literally a dumb shit because you went to school in a democratic state and all they teach you is how to be a victim and how to be oppressed and how to cry and be a baby and throw fits and be lazy. It's so infuriating to people like me that actually work their ass off and always have. To people like me who have had a very, very difficult life, was not raised in some wonderful Disney life, who has suffered a lot, but I use it as a motivation to catapult me forward. I also know that there are people who have it a lot worse off than myself. So I use those things to better myself, not to whine and cry and try to get other people to do shit for me. We can all have our days. Again, I get that we all have our days. I get that there are times we just can't do life. We are exhausted. We are tired. We are sad. We are stressed. We are just mentally not capable of it. We all have those days. And I'm not talking about taking the occasional time off once in a while because you're just fucking done. And I'm not talking about, we all deserve a vacation. We all deserve personal time off to take time to be with our family. But I'm saying after you've earned it, after you've earned it. So you earn it by working hard, and you earn it by showing up to your job and working the 40 hours a week. And then after you've put in your time, then you get rewarded by having paid time off. But you shouldn't get rewarded by simply not showing up, like a participation award that I talked about. I shouldn't get rewarded by just showing up. Oh, I got dressed today. I got out of bed. Although sometimes I do feel like that's a very large achievement. Sometimes I feel that's a huge accomplishment, because there are many times I don't feel like getting out of bed and getting dressed. So I feel like sometimes I deserve an award for doing it, but you know what? I don't. Maybe I deserve a, hey, you really felt like crap today, but you still got out of bed anyways. Good for you. We deserve a pat on the back. Mo, come, good boy. We deserve a pat on the back. Sure. Maybe a coffee or something. Sure. But free healthcare and never showing up to work and never contributing. You think that you get free healthcare over our veterans, over the people like our elderly? Our elderly and our vets get screwed the most, followed by the rest of us tax-paying citizens. So any of you out there that are still to this day in 2024 whining and crying and bitching and moaning while you're doing absolutely nothing but living off of welfare and not even trying to get off welfare. Again, I have nothing against people on welfare. I've been on welfare. If you need it and you're working and you're trying, and you need that to help you out to get on your feet, that's one thing. That's what it's there for. But it is not for you just to live off for the rest of your life and never have any goals of getting off of it. It's ridiculous. I'm just all fired up. I'm so sick of working with bitchy women that can't fucking get their shit together and have to be catty and drama. I love that most men, if they fight, they get it out, they move on. They can still work together. Or the men that back in my day, they would punch each other and then help each other up and go, okay, are we done? Mo. They're like, okay, are we done? Mosby, knock it off. And then they help each other up and they move on. Not women. Oh, fuck no. Women will drag that shit out. Talk about a grudge. Goddamn, women have grudges. They are the grudge masters. I'm a woman. I don't need to listen to people go, you hate women. You hate women. I'm a woman. I'll say whatever the hell I want about women. I'll say whatever I want about men. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me. Doesn't mean I'm correct. It's my opinion. And I would rather work with a bunch of men any day of the week than a whole bunch of women. It's awful. We suck. And all you women out there know what I'm talking about. All of you out there, most of you, I will say 80%, 75, 80% of you will agree that if you get a bunch of women working together, it sucks. And I will bet you hate it. And I will bet you that you all would rather work with men over women. Because we suck. We're petty and we're dramatic and we're bitchy. It's awful. And that is why people that have a bunch of women working together have revolving doors and they're constantly seeking employment. So frustrating. Laziness is just a pet peeve of mine. Again, if you want to be lazy on your days off, I applaud that. Do it. If you want to have, after you've got off of work, and you want to go home and chill and be lazy, I applaud that. If you have times in your life where you just can't get your shit together and you need to have a lazy day, I applaud that. But laziness as a whole, being a lazy person, absolutely gigantic pet peeve of mine. I detest lazy people. Again, I'm not talking about if you've worked all day and now you're home and you're lazy. Or I'm not talking about if you have a job and on your days off, you're lazy. Or I'm not talking about if you decide to go on vacation because you need the time off because you've worked. Any of that. No. Talking about just laziness as a whole. Can't stand it. Huge turnoff. Hate it. Just like the people that are really overweight that constantly sit there and go, oh my God, it must be nice to be skinny. It is. It's great. You should try it. To those of you out there that are overweight because you're lazy, that is your fault. I'm so sick and death. I'm so tired of people going, I have a genetic condition. What, eating? Eating is being lazy is your genetic condition? Because that's what it is. I've asked my doctor. There is literally less than 2% of people in the entire population that have a legitimate, for real disorder that makes it difficult for them to lose weight. Doesn't make it impossible. They can still lose weight. It just makes it harder. It makes it more difficult for them to lose weight than the average person. Not that they can't do it. It means they will have to work extra, extra hard, but they can still do it. Other than that, there's not anything out there, nothing, not one single disease out there that says no matter what you do, you will never, ever, 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 ever lose weight. None, not one disease out there. That's a fact. So I'm sick and tired of overweight people saying, well, I'm fat because I have a medical condition. I'm fat because I've tried and I just can't lose weight. Did you really try? When you say try, what did you actually try? What did you actually do? Did you try for a week or two to eat a little bit healthier? Not a lot healthier, but a little bit healthier. Did you try to work out a little bit? Not as much as you should, but did you try working out a little bit and eat a little better? And then that didn't work, so you gave up? Or did you try and work your ass off and you actually did work really hard and you ate really well for 2 weeks or a month, and then when you didn't see results, you gave up? Because that's what happens most of the time. 90% of the time, I've done this. I start out gung-ho and I eat really, really well for like 2 weeks and I work out really well for like 2 weeks, and then I peter out. So then I gain the weight back or I don't lose more weight, because that's what happens. Everybody has a different body type. Sure, there are people out there that unfortunately, and I feel incredibly, incredibly bad for the people out there that do have a very difficult time losing weight. Maybe you shouldn't have allowed yourself to get that overweight in the first place, though. I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for saying this. I know there's going to be people that probably don't listen to me anymore. There are going to be people that are so offended, but I'm over it. I don't care. You need to hear this. Clearly, you need to hear this, and clearly nobody has told you this, and clearly you're not listening. It sucks a lot if you genuinely have a really hard time losing weight and you are doing all the right things, like working out and eating correctly. But everybody has a different body type, so we all need to do different types of workouts and eat different things. It totally depends on the person. It totally depends on your body type, on what you need to do for you to lose weight. We all need to do different things. But the one thing that we all have in common that we need to do is stick with it and follow through. If you don't stick with it, you don't follow through, well, then, yeah, you're always going to be overweight. If you do stick with it and you follow through and you're still having a really, really hard time, that fucking sucks. And I feel horrible for you. And that would be a really hard thing to come back from. To constantly be doing something over and over and over again and yet not seeing results, God, that would be devastating. I would give up too. But then maybe that means you try something else. I don't know. But maybe you shouldn't have allowed yourself to get that overweight to begin with. It happens. I allowed myself to get almost 60 pounds overweight, and 60 pounds on me is seriously like 120. I allowed it though. So I didn't complain. I complained about it, but it was my fault. So I was like, it's my fault. I did it. I allowed it. I allowed it to get to that point. But I have never, ever, ever allowed myself to get 100 pounds overweight, 200 pounds overweight, because that's just not me. I think that if you are overweight, I'm not saying that you're not smart. I'm not saying you're not beautiful. I'm not saying that you aren't a wonderful person. I have many friends that are overweight, and I think they're beautiful, wonderful people. Have no problem with people that are overweight. I have a massive problem, though, with people talking shit to me because I'm not. That's being prejudiced. That is an overweight person being prejudiced towards skinny people, and that's just as shitty. I'm sorry that I eat healthy. I'm sorry that I'm a very, very active person, so I never get overweight because I'm not lazy. I'm an incredibly active person. I am always, always moving. I am always going. And I've never been one to eat like shit. Well, okay, that's not true. I do eat things that are crappy, that are not good for you, but I follow it up by things that are good for me, and I follow it up with activity. I am always doing something. I am always moving. So when I was 60 pounds overweight, I immediately was like, oh, crap. Got to do something about this. So I did. And now I am 5'8" and I weigh 140 pounds. And I am between a size 6 and 8. And I worked hard for this at almost 50 years old. I have always been a fit person who has always watched what I eat and has always been athletic and healthy and active. I have always been a hiker, a kayaker, a horseback rider, been in sports, all of these things. I do that because I don't want to be overweight, because I don't want to suddenly get 200-300 pounds overweight and then have it be super, super difficult to lose weight, because it is. So just don't allow yourself to get that in the first place. And if you do, don't hate on skinny people, because it's shitty. You wouldn't like it if I went up to you and went, wow, it really sucks to be so fat. I'm glad I'm not fat. It's the same thing you can mention going, oh, it must be really nice to be skinny. What are you, anorexic? What do you do, drugs? Okay, if I were anorexic, that's a disease and certainly not something you should make fun of. Shame on you. What if I were anorexic? What if I were bulimic? That's a disease. You're going to make fun of someone with a disease? What if I were a druggie? That's an addiction. So you're going to make fun of somebody with an addiction? And why is it that if I'm skinny, I have to be anorexic, bulimic, or an addict? Couldn't it just be that I have good genes, or that I eat healthy, or that I'm active, or all of the above? Because I'm here to tell you, my mom's side of the family is all very overweight. My dad's side of the family, skinny. So as far as the gene pool goes, kind of 50-50. So it was up to me. I don't allow myself to get overweight. Sorry. The time that I did, the one time I did something about it. I realized it before it got so hard to lose weight. I'm sure it is very, very difficult to lose weight once you get in the hundreds of pounds. So don't let yourself get that way. And if you do, don't blame it on a disease, and don't blame it on anything other than your lack of desire and your lack of follow through. And if you keep following through and you're not seeing results, that super sucks. And I do feel bad for you, but it's time to do something else about it then, or stop complaining to other people as if it's their fault. Again, this is going to piss a lot of people off. People are going to think I'm terrible. And again, I don't care. Maybe more people should say the truth. Because sometimes the truth, whether it hurts or sucks, we need to hear it. Sometimes it takes something that hurts and sucks for us to hear to make us change what we're doing. Sugarcoating things clearly isn't helping. Clearly that hasn't been doing it. So maybe, again, maybe you need to mix it up. Because if constantly patting you on the back saying it's not your fault isn't working, then maybe somebody needs to go, it actually is your fault, because it is. Just like it would be my fault if I went and drank and then I got a DUI. That's not the cop's fault for pulling me over. That's my fault because I chose to drink and I chose to get in a car. If I choose to punch somebody and they call the cops and I get arrested, it's my fault. If I choose to be lazy and never ever work out and eat like garbage, I'm going to gain weight, and that is my fault. Stop blaming others for things that are not other people's fault. Take responsibility. Laziness. It's the plague of the world, especially the United States. God, America, I think, is the capital of lazy. We are the king and queen. We are sitting at the top of the throne of laziness. We are fat and lazy and entitled. Fat, lazy, entitled people who are not educated at all. I don't know the stats. I think we're like fucking number 20 or some shit like that as far as literacy. So we're stupid. We're obese. We're lazy. We're entitled. Great combo. What a great combo. Nice job. Nice job, America. America. I love this country more than anything in the world. I just don't like what this administration has done to it. It's ridiculous. What a good combination. And then we have these people that don't want to show up to work but still want to get paid. And these people that don't want to share tips. And that's not my job description. Don't fucking take a job and then complain about it. Quit. Quit or shut the fuck up and do your job. Those are your options. Quit bitching about it. Shut up, do your job, or get a different one. Don't take a job and act like you're doing someone a favor. You're the one that went out of your way to apply. You're the one that went to the interview. You're the one that filled out the resume. You're the one that said yes and agreed to the job. You're not doing anybody a favor. The person signing your paycheck and paying your bills is doing you a favor. The person giving you money for doing your job is doing you a favor. That's how it works. Wake up, America. Pull your head out. Pull your head out. Stop eating so much. Stop complaining so much. Stop making excuses. Stop being lazy. Stop wanting things that you didn't earn. Sorry. I know I'm getting a little fired up. I know I sound bitchy. I know I sound like I'm just ugh. And women, quit being dramatic, cackling hens. It's annoying. I've been one. I know I have. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at all. I've been lazy. I'm sure I've been entitled. I'm sure I've been a cackling hen. I'm sure I've been all the things. And then when I catch myself or someone is honest with me and tells me the truth and doesn't just pat me on the head and tells me what I want to hear, then I correct the problem. Oh, look at that. Someone tells you the truth and then you correct the problem. What a concept. Let's do more of that. Shall we? Man, I'm bitter. I'm a bitter Betty today. I'm a bitter Betty. I don't want to leave the podcast on a bitter note. What can I say that's happy? I'm alive. If you're listening to this, you're alive. That's good. I live in a beautiful home and I am so genuinely grateful for it. I have amazing sons that are healthy. I have grandchildren that are healthy. I'm healthy. So thank you, universe or God, whomever, whatever, for those things. And thank you for listening. I am grateful for the people that tune in every day, even when I'm on a tirade, even when I'm babbling, even when I make no sense, even when my dogs are barking, even when I get interrupted by my phone, and you still listen. Thank you so much. You guys are freaking amazeballs. Oh my gosh, my dog lost his ball. Speaking of balls. So thank you. I will end on that instead of a bitter Betty note. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Ramblings of an Insomniac. Tell your friends.